This podcast contains some magical adult language. Listener discretion is advised. And sorry, Mom.
I'm going to Disney World. I'm going to...
Whoa. You're not Mickey Mouse, you're a rat.
Rat smack! Besides, they're tourists. What do they know?
Welcome to Rat Castle, a progressive chat about Disney magic without the pixie dust. I am, of course, your rat-tastic Nathan Hartman. And with me today, we've got two fellow rats and a guest. I don't know if we can call our guests rats. We'll decide how that works. It seems cooler to call them
honorary rats.
honorary rats. But with us, of course, Dave. Hello, Dave.
Yo, hello.
And Victoria, welcome.
Hi.
And that's the crew, the core crew that are here. Janine is on vacation, and Sarah had her wisdom teeth taken out. So I wish she would have come on, like doped up. That would have been worth it. I think. Maybe she has more to say about the British. I don't know. We would find out.
That was quite a rant. That was she let loose on that one. That was fun.
She's got some things to say. So if that's her on an energy drink, I'd love to see her doped up post root canal. But our best, or not root canal, but wisdom teeth. So best wishes to you, Sarah. Get better soon. And hopefully don't laugh too much. I think that's bad for you. I don't know how it works. It's been a long time since I found out. But anyway, Dave, there is a guest with us today and a friend of yours. Would you please do a lovely introduction?
Sure. Actually, by the way, I think we should call our guests Rat Curious.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. They don't know if they want to be rats yet, but
Rodent Curious.
they'll experiment. Yeah.
So yes, we have a lovely guest with us today, Kira Prince. Kira is a friend of mine through a workshop that I was a part of back in the early days of the pandemic. Kira, you want to talk about that? How all that happened?
Yeah, sure. And thanks for inviting me on here. This was like early, like into the pandemic. I think like 2 or 3 months in, and I was in grad school at the time. And like all the internships had just completely evaporated. And so Morgan, what's her last name? Kiesling?
Morgan Kiesling.
Yeah, she put together this theme entertainment, workshop for like everyone that like any student can enroll and kind of just like get a crash course in concept design for theme parks. And so I met Dave as part of that program.
Yeah, we were all of the workshop folks were in the same boat. They were or had just graduated, and they all got split up into groups. Each of them got a mentor. I was very, very proud to be one of them. And it was a fun workshop where we were given like an attraction type and a theme sort of kind of pulled out of a hat, basically. And you guys had what? It was like 3 weeks, maybe a month.
It was 4 weeks, but basically everything had to be done in 3 weeks. It was a trackless horror dark ride was our prompt.
Yeah, it was, and it was really great, and it was a ton of fun. And our job as mentor was to kind of be a cross between sort of teacher but also client, and sort of give feedback about what if I was the client, how would I respond to things. And everybody just did such great work. I was just proud papa of everybody, Kira included. The designs were just really clever and fun. And so since then, Kira and I have been online friends and nerded out on all kinds of things on the Twitters in the last couple of years. So, and we had just been talking actually about some other stuff the other day in DMs, and I was like, oh gosh, Kira should be on here. So welcome, Kira. Thank you for joining us and being an honorary rat today.
No, thank you for having me.
Yes, we're so happy to have you join us. And I guess that means we need to dig into the news. So we are going to begin with Walt Disney World, and we're just going to get all the Reedy Creek stuff out of the way now because we still have to talk about it. Hopefully one day this will end, but because it hasn't, I've decided to give it its own sound effect. So anytime we talk about Ron DeSantis or Reedy Creek or anything like that, the dude himself will help us out with a little
Fucking fascist!
So there you go. And it's very true. So let's begin. Governor DeSantis, of course, has signed the Reedy Creek bill into law. That takeover has been put into law. This would have been on the 27th of February. And I just want to kind of lay that groundwork here real quick as we kind of get into this. He, of course, he did this at the Reedy Creek Fire Department. I want to talk a little bit about the fire department in a minute when we talk about the new board meetings, because it's interesting what they have to say, but they've very much backed him on this takeover. But he signed the bill and he said a bunch of stuff. And then he invited this guy named Nick Carano on, who created goofyvaccine.com and was a cast member who either got let go or left because he wouldn't get the vaccine. It's hard to tell. And he went on I don't know what vaccine mandates have to do with a new board for Reedy Creek, but someone wants to run for president, so that's kind of what's been going on. So DeSantis, of course, then wrote an op-ed. I guess it would be an op-ed if he's writing it, sort of about why he's doing what he did. And this op-ed was, I want to make sure I give credit where credit is due, was written for the Wall Street Journal. That is not a shock. That is not a shock to me at all. So the Wall Street Journal, he wrote, his reasoning for Disney defending the LGBTQIA plus employees is that, and this is now quoting him because he wouldn't have said LGBTQIA plus. I'm pretty sure he thinks 3 of those don't exist, maybe 4. So he said groups of employees at some corporations want their employer to reflect their own political values and power. A traditional corporate executive may have power within the company, DeSantis writes, but a woke CEO can use the corporate bully pulpit to exert influence over society.
Fucking fascist!
So DeSantis concludes by saying woke ideology is a form of cultural Marxism. Leaders must stand up and fight back when big corporations make the mistake, as Disney did, of using their economic might to advance a political agenda. We are making Florida the state where the economy flourishes because we are the state where woke goes to die. Now, let's talk through this for just 1 second.
Oh my God. Can I just say though, like
Please.
the worst thing white people could have ever done is learn the term woke because they never use it right.
No.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just like, please find something else to culturally appropriate for your agenda. I'm begging you.
Yeah.
Anyway, go on.
I mean, if I don't know what the surprise is that the Republican Party has co-opted a black phrasing to scare people. That seems very up their alley.
It's on brand. That's totally on brand.
Yes, it's very on brand for them.
Yeah. But okay, so his issue here is he says that a woke CEO can use the corporate bully pulpit to exert influence over society. Bitch, that's what every CEO does. That's called capitalism.
Yeah, right.
That's what that is. You don't have to like it, but your issue is
That's what it is.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's like all of this is like a problem with capitalism because, of course,
Fucking fascist!
so,
Have to wear that button out.
I'm going to wear it out if I'm not careful. Yeah.
Can we make buttons?
Yeah. We need to have an actual button. Maybe this is
really
the next
do.
shirt. But yeah, so he goes on and he picks this board. I want to talk a little bit about this board that he appointed because he gets to choose, right? This was his whole thing, is he gets to choose who is now on Reedy Creek, Disney's. It's now a special district. It's a different name, or sort of. It's renamed the Central Florida Tourism Oversight District. Snore. That'll look great on a trash can. So, let's see here. I'm sure he's employed people that know what they're talking about and have some.
Are you sure? Are
I
you
believe
really
none
sure?
of them had any theme park experience.
No,
Yeah.
God, no.
Not a single one.
That would make too
One
much
of
sense.
them is a Christian nationalist, I
Oh,
believe.
we'll
Of
get into
course.
this. So the first is Bridget Ziegler, who is a well, they call themselves a parents' right activist. But I've heard that phrase all the way back since the 80s. And of course, as you all know, she's with Moms for Liberty. And they, of
Oh,
course,
dear.
laid the groundwork for the Don't Say Gay bill to begin with. So she and her.
Fantastic.
Yeah, last month her husband was named the chairman of the state's Republican Party, just to give you an idea. So
Oh dear. Oh dear.
there we go. There's a political reason. Ron Perry is the Christian nationalist you're thinking of, who believes that there's a good chance that people are gay because tap water has too much estrogen in it. That's
Scientific. That's scientifically sound right there.
yeah.
It's a very serious problem.
I mean,
yeah.
I
very
read
serious.
earlier that an asteroid was estimated to hit us in 2046. I wonder if we could speed that up.
Can we speed that up? Yeah, that'd
like
be
a
just fine.
reverse Armageddon. Just like, how do we suck this thing in faster?
My God, they really.
Yeah.
My
Oh,
favorite,
God,
my
the children were left behind. I tell you.
Yeah.
My favorite quote was where he said Disney executives were seen on videos boasting about the company's plans to inject sexuality into its programming for children. First of all, first of all, don't say inject sexuality. I mean, you have to put like a guitar wail behind that. Wow.
Doctor, I heard. Well, I know there's only one cure, and it's to inject
some sexuality. Reminds me of that 30 Rock thing when Jen is like, "I'm going to use my don't say sexuality, right?"
Yeah, for sure.
It's just, again, it's that I wish as gay people I was having as much sex as these people think I'm having. Like the gay agenda is actually about brunch and taking the dog for a walk. Like
I wish I was having as much sex as they think you're having. Like,
I mean, honestly, like I feel like that's what we all wish.
Yeah,
because we're not.
Yeah.
We go to work.
They think about sex a lot more than I think about sex. Let's just leave it at that.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Projection.
So I just think it's like it's crazy that like DeSantis is simultaneously trying to market Florida as the business friendly state, and then is instituting a board to completely control a corporation because they did something he didn't like.
The number one the corporation that employs the most people in Florida. Yeah. It's a bright move. So the other three people on the board are all lawyers. Okay. Shock. And they all gave money to Ron DeSantis. So Martin Garcia donated $50,000 to Ron DeSantis. Michael A. Sasso donated roughly $9,000 to conservative candidates, including DeSantis. Can we talk? Look, I want to be petty, because look, something that. So, for example, today we found out that Mitch McConnell, a man who is not turtle enough for the Turtle Club, he fell and hurt himself. And I was told by some on Twitter, that I was supposed to feel bad about that. And
No. Like, I'm not going to wish, I hope you hurt and I hope you die in pain, but I'm going to say, fuck around and find out, and you've been a shit your entire life. So I'm not too sad about you now.
If stairs take you out at 86 or whatever, okay. Like
that's nature working its course.
God bless you.
That's
right. But that's where I'm at.
Get a Stairmaster like a normal fucking 85-year-old.
I saw a great tweet on Twitter, which was like, they don't wish him any harm, just as the same healthcare he'd wish on the poorest Americans.
Yeah, exactly.
There it is.
So that brings me to, of course, being petty about Mike Sasso. I want to be petty about Mike Sasso. Can we talk about Mike Sasso for 2 seconds? Do we all know what I'm talking about when I talk about Mike Sasso?
Is he the one with the weird hair?
We're going to talk about Mike Sasso's
the hair.
Mike Sasso is a lawyer, and he has, if you type in Mike Sasso, Florida into Google, is the first image that will come up. This is a professional photographer's picture of this man. And he has decided that he is going to make it very clear that he's not balding at top at all, because he has, I believe they're highlights. He has blonded his dark hair and has brought it all forward like a bowl cut.
Yeah, it is the worst kind of comb over. I mean, when I was growing up, the guy with this kind of comb over was like the creepy math teacher with a van full of candy, basically. Right. I mean,
but those people now run for office.
That's true.
That's what they do. So I hate to be petty, Mike, but how can you trust a man who can't? Yeah, how can you trust a man that can't trust a mirror? Like,
this is
Yeah,
little-
it's
This
bad.
is
It's
a
bad.
choice.
It's
Yeah.
camp,
My
is what it
God.
is. It's reached camp.
It's
This is the
it's
hair.
giving like evil CEO from like a 1990s Disney Channel movie.
Yes,
Well-
totally. Like a decom for sure.
Everyone said that the board looked all like Tex Richmond's from the Muppets. Like they're all just trying to take the theater. I think that's accurate.
I think that's accurate.
I
He
said
also
uh,
looks a
excuse
little
me.
bit like he looks like he's going to be somebody in an SNL skit. Like it's the hair is that bad,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
I want to see his credentials. I'm gonna look at this.
Yeah.
And
So
he's got
anyway,
crazy
that's all-
eyes too. In that board photo on the web pic of them all sitting there, he's got sort of bug eyes going on.
yeah. It's nice to know we've not lost Marty Feldman. I thought he had died, but he lived. So anyway, let's talk about the first meeting real quick here, and then we can be done talking about these guys. They met and they kind of had their first I don't know how to put it. They didn't really do anything. They just sort of
Yeah,
laid
they
the
really
ground rules.
didn't. It was like a photo op, if anything.
But at the same time, the Reedy Creek Fire Department representative came up and kind of talked during open time. And he did say that I'm trying to find the gentleman's name. John Shirley, who's the president of the union, spoke, and he said, and that's the Reedy Creek Fire Department union. He said it was previously one of the highest paid departments with the best resources in the state, but that hasn't been the case. For one example, Shirley noted that Disney World has the largest private fleet of watercraft in the country, and the fire department does not have a water rescue vehicle. He said the current plan for a water rescue is to head to the nearest marina and attempt to commandeer a vehicle from Disney that they can use. Can you imagine them like just grabbing the float at Animal Kingdom with Donald and Daisy on it, and being like, "Sorry, motherfuckers, we gotta go. This is time."
Oh, that's a
Annette-
legit idea.
I mean, there has been a long like history of the fire department at Disney World not being treated well.
Yeah,
I don't think that DeSantis is going to fix that. Like, I don't know if they're expecting them to be like, here's all the budget you could want. Like, something tells me that's not going to happen.
I don't see it going down.
yeah. I this is the thing that always sort of happens with these things, right? Is like there are legitimate complaints because there's really, how do I put this? There's no good guy in this scenario. It's big monopolistic corporation versus,
Fucking fascist!
So I don't know. I don't have much of a choice between the two, and I would like there not to be fires. So I understand this reasoning. I understand why they'd be interested in seeing those changes, and I support that. Like if Disney is not doing their job on this, I don't. It's something we've talked about in the past. Is we don't care necessarily that Disney does not have Reedy Creek anymore. We just wish it wasn't, like a stop on the presidential election tour.
Right. It's like in another world, actually, like the elimination of Reedy Creek would have been like a really good move. It's just the fact that it's in complete retaliation
Yes.
for giving like the barest minimum support to gay people, and they're like, no, now we're going to
not giving it, then kind of
Pretty
giving
much.
it, and being behind the scenes, having Chapek saying like, people are really upset. I don't know what to do about it. Like having that level of gutlessness, and they're still like, we're going to take over how you run your water supply. Like it's the strangest.
Yeah, and put completely
So
incompetent
weird.
people in charge too.
Yeah.
Who have
It's-
zero experience. I mean, go off, I guess.
But that's the thing about this is they say they're going to do a lot, but I think we all know they're not going to do a lot. Like I'd be shocked if they really did something.
Just
They're
the
gonna
fact
stop
that
the woke agenda.
Yeah.
the fact that DeSantis literally used the term "there's a new sheriff in town."
Oh,
like,
yeah.
come on. Like,
Yeah.
are you?
I mean, I'm
Like, I
also
feel
sure that
like
they're
they-
not going to do everything. Like Reedy Creek has the authority to like issue permits, and I wouldn't be
Right.
surprised if DeSantis gets mad at Disney for, like their next movie or whatever having a gay cast, and they'd be like, you know what? No, you can't build the next your Space Mountain refurb or whatever it is.
I mean, it's interesting to look at it from that angle. My thing with this, of course, and something we always kind of forget about is all he needs to do is run for office, and then he leaves, and then there's an election, and then he loses that election, and he can't come crawling back and be governor again because people don't really like that. And like this whole thing can unfold very quickly, or like it really does take one moderate to come in and be like, well, we don't really need to do this and this and this, and then it all goes back to the way it was weirdly anyway. It's so
it's just gonna
performative.
It's very performative, and what will end up happening is if Disney can show proof that their obstructionist things are causing them financial pain, which they can make up however they want, by the way. They
That's
can
just moving numbers.
That's just moving numbers around, right? They're going to do that, and then they're going to start like cutting jobs, and they're going to go, what, you forced us to do this, and it'll turn into litigation. It's just I mean, it's just like, it's the way that things are playing out in national politics with Trump and everything. The only way to get to these people is through a legal course, through defamation, through you're impeding our business is what's going to happen. Disney's going to have a lot of weight to throw around there, whether it's true or not. They're going to do it anyway,
right? And for those who are like, well, Disney can move, no.
No.
Just pack the whole park up, guys.
All right, just pack her up.
This isn't a
moving to
fucking
Kansas.
this isn't a church carnival, people. Like, there's infrastructure there that would cost them billions, and it's not worth their money. So they're better off sticking around and going, all right, this is going to pass. Like, I bet you internally they're like, this is bluster and braggadocio. If we find any actual serious problems with them, we're going to sue the crap out of them, and it'll pass, and they'll be back to where they were.
Because and I mean we've already, like, there are, like, Florida's already proposed an extension to the "Don't Say Gay" law in this legislative session, and of course Disney has said nothing this time. Yeah, and something tells me they're probably not going to.
Well, and this is the key. This is something I'm not taking credit for most of this. This is the work of John Oliver, but they went through and sort of like looked at DeSantis's last couple years of doing stuff, or at least from when he was governor, but then stuff he has said before. And especially as governor, it's been a lot of throw big raw meat out to the base, get sued, things go and kind of get stopped by judges, and then they're right now kind of up in the air and they're not really happening, right? But it all looks good for him because he threw the red meat out. The thing that's interesting about Reedy Creek is like, it's theoretically his most successful cultural win. Like, he was able to do the thing, and there's no like way to really stop him. So we'll see how this affects. It's the least, Reedy Creek is the least important of all the malicious things he's doing, for sure. But it may be the one that's talked about by him the most in the coming months, because it's the one that he can say is still going on. So he may come back to this drum now and then and sort of say like, all right, more. So hopefully not, but you never know. Let's see here. Let's continue on. We got so much news. Victoria, tell us a little bit about, while the state of Florida seems to be failing, you can go up to a Galactic Star Cruiser and everything's going okay. Right, Victoria, right?
I mean, I guess so. It's your definition of okay. So the Galactic Star Cruiser, the latest, I'm not even gonna call it a hotel, because anytime I call it a hotel, I get told and chewed out, and it's an experience. What the fuck ever. So the dates for the remainder of the calendar, going from October to December, are available to book, but they're going down from 3 bookings a week to 2, if I remember correctly. Apparently it's just getting so bad with capacity that they can only fill 1 dinner service at this point. There's been low occupancy for cruises that are being canceled. I know there were like TikTok videos going around that some of the cast members that were under contract did not renew. They started offering discounts to DVC and the CMs. It's just not looking like the demand that they expected is there. So I have 2 experiences per week starting in October.
And so it's a 3-day experience, right?
Mm-hmm.
2.
It's like 2 days in a morning.
2 days in a morning.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming that 3rd day is an overlap for both bookings, right? So this is basically just saying they're taking out a weekend, right? They're doing Monday through Friday and then a reset weekend or whatever. I mean, yes, this is less. This isn't the drastic cut that I think people think it is.
Mm.
You know what I mean? This is I don't know. I mean, is it selling well? No, but they're not going to abandon it. It's not like it's going to go away
Well, I
completely.
mean, from a TA standpoint, they're not going to abandon it, but what they try to get us to do is to
Mm.
sell it as an addition on top of a regular package.
That's
So it's like,
insane.
Yeah,
That's
that's
so
insane.
they
like
yeah,
I feel
I say that like it's crazy, right? Like they want us to sell a normal package and use the Star Cruiser as an add-on. So like, and they want you to do it the Star Cruiser first and then do your vacation.
yeah,
That's just crazy.
it's just too expensive for like I mean if it was like a $1,000 experience, I don't think they'd be having any issues. But when it costs $6,000 for 2 days,
Yeah.
in addition to your travel costs to get to
Which is
Disney World, in addition,
insane
I mean,
because a regular cruise costs almost half that.
yeah,
Like a
I
regular cruise is more worth it.
yeah, I can do a 7-day Disney cruise for less than that. I mean, it's
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I mean, trust me, I want to go,
Mhm.
but it's not going to be something that I add on to a 7-day trip. It's going to be like, oh, I'm out there for a conference. I'm going to take an extra weekend and go.
Right.
But
Mm-hmm.
I think that they'll end up discounting it. They'll probably end up scaling back some of the entertainment inside in terms of staffing and scope.
yeah,
And
I'd be really curious to see if they like adapt any other. I mean, because it's obviously it's just a huge set that could be used for any sort of experience. It doesn't necessarily have to be the model they're using right now. And I've always been interested in like what if you did like a 6 or 7 hour evening experience,
Right.
like a dinner cruise kind of thing, where you still get the entire story, you get the big battle, you get dinner and a show, you get to walk around, do some of the interactive stuff. It's just compressed into a much shorter time frame, and they could run 2 of them a day. And they'll have new people every day, and like maybe that would be a way to
Yeah.
to
Hoopty it.
lower the price point.
Yeah. It's a hoopty.
Yeah, that's a good idea. That's a good idea.
I think that's where it's gonna go. That's a lot of wasted space when you don't use those rooms, but then again, who cares?
Yeah,
You
well, no,
know?
you could do like a Polynesian model, where it's like you still operate the hotel, but the show is a thing that's open to a separate set of guests,
Hmm.
and like it's an add-on to stay the night or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
You
true.
certainly could do that. It's something. Anyway, we'll see. We've all been, I don't know. Dave, you have the pulse on the industry. Um, are these experiences something that other businesses think is a viable opportunity for them, or is this a complete, is everyone just still kind of waiting around and going like, is this gonna work or not? Because I think COVID also falls into giving, it's a good
yeah,
excuse for why this isn't working. It's a lot
yes.
of reasons.
And I think that COVID is a valid percentage of why it's not working. We're just
Sure.
in a different financial space right now. But like, I mean, I, I had gone through many design ideas with clients in the past about this very thing, about how do we take the cruise ship model and make it on land and make it like, about a story, about an immersive world. There was a time when I worked on a certain IP that involves a magical school that involved this kind of idea that I can't talk about. So that never happened. But like, trust me, people have been talking about this for a very, very, very
Sure.
long time. And so, it's very easy to look at the cruise industry and say, well, that's successful. Why isn't this? But it is something different. And I think they're the first out the gate, and that's not insignificant.
Sure.
And so as an industry, still give it a huge pass because it is a huge swing. They are
Mhm.
taking a massive swing for this. And are they getting
Oh
beat
yeah,
up?
it's amazing.
Sure.
I'm so glad they did it.
Yeah, I'm very glad they did it. Somebody had to be first. Now the hard work is, all right, how do you right size it? And how do you make it have the same impact and not neuter it, but make it actually financially successful? I mean,
Right.
you think if anybody thinks for a second that Disney thought this was going to make its money back in the first 5 or 10 years, you do not know how theme parks work,
No.
because none of them do. Attractions take usually 20 to 30 years to make their money back.
Yeah.
So, and parks even longer. So
But generally, you don't have to get well, you kind of have to get a reservation for Space Mountain, but theoretically, there's a lot of people that want that reservation.
Yeah.
I think that's the problem. It's like any hotel. It's like, but it's cordoned off. I think the secrecy of the whole thing, even though they show you stuff and there's tours and stuff at this point where you could see whatever, like it's a building. Like it's if you pass it, it's nothing. Like there's nothing interesting about it, and it's a I don't know. It's an interesting concept. We'll have to see what the
I think it's one of those things that everybody should just stay tuned. They're not going to knock it down next week. It will change. They're going to change something. I love the idea of like limited time experiences in the same space, and maybe by going down to 2 full sailings, as it were, that gives them a day or two in between to do exactly that, right? To do come in and do a dinner thing, come in and do an evening thing, come in and do a cocktail thing.
Well, hell, you can do 2 different kinds of shows too. Like there's nothing that says your cruise, quote unquote, has to go to the same place. I think the marketing of this thing has been poor in the sense that they kept talking about it like it's a cruise and not like it's a, I don't know. I don't want to, escape room's a bad example. Meow Wolf is a better example. Like to treat it like it's an immersive experience, that's one thing, but to then like they kept trying to use the analogy of cruise because it is a Star Cruiser and you're in narrative going places, but I think that gives people the wrong idea of what they're kind of getting into. And if you're not interested in a cruise, well, you're probably not gonna, if that's how you sold, like you're not gonna think, well, that's what I want to do. Like it's interesting.
I mean, that's me using that terminology. I don't think Disney compares it to their cruises at all, right? Like, but it's
certainly, I think what people are doing, in general.
And the thing is, all inclusive on land, there is precedent for it, right? I mean, the all inclusive resorts in the Bahamas. Great Wolf Lodge, for Christ's sakes, is a cruise ship on land at a much lower cost and a much lower experience level.
Well,
but
what I was thinking is like, I don't know if you've seen like the documentary about all like the resorts that used to be in the Catskills, and how they basically set the model for cruise ships. And I don't know. I mean, obviously, none of those are successful anymore. They've all basically closed down. But like, if there was a model that was viable, that was it for whatever time period that was.
Yeah, I think Kira, what I hear is to be successful, the Star Cruiser needs a Jewish comedian. I agree. I think that's the key. Take our Catskills comedy, put it on there.
I mean, honestly, just put the Muppets in there.
Sure, why not?
That would be kind of amazing, actually. I mean, there needs to be a Muppet Star Wars something anyway. I can't believe there hasn't been one, but
exactly. I'm just giving ideas.
Speaking of other Star Wars things that are close to Muppet things, over at Hollywood Studios, that's a transition. You might not like it, but it's one. There is something going on at Hollywood Studios Galaxy's Edge. Victoria, who's popped up and is greeting people now.
Before I say everything, I'm telling all y'all I told y'all, so y'all know who you are. Anyway, so Mandalorian and Grogu, also known as Baby Yoda, are currently doing roaming meet and greets at Batu East. And it's been confirmed by, I believe it was like Scott Gustin, I believe, on Twitter, that this is a permanent thing that they're going to be doing. Like it's going anywhere. Yeah, they're chilling. So it's fun time.
I saw him at Hollywood or at California Batu West last weekend, actually, and it was.
I saw him last visit. He was delightful.
Tell us about Batu Pride. How'd it go?
Batu Pride. Oh, this is for the folks who don't know, this is just this little lark that I started back in 2019 that is just like, hey, queer Star Wars nerds, come bound. And it's literally it. I did it on Gay Day in 2019 as a lark. It ended we ended up like 60 of my friends all made reservations at Oga's within like 15 minutes of each other. So we took over Oga's and turned it into a gay bar for like 3 hours.
That's fantastic.
I made coasters, and then the manager of the place was like, "Did you make these?" And I was like, maybe." She's like, "Do you have more?" "Oh yeah, here you go." And I gave her a stack of them, and we made pins. And it was, to me, it was like, we did it in 2019, and I thought, I'm never going to do this again. This is just for sillies, right? And then Scott Trowbridge mentions it on stage at Star Wars Celebrations. last year, during the section about fandom. He's like, we've got the Saber meetups and the droid builders and the datapad modders and wedding proposals and all those kind of things in Galaxy's Edge and Bocce Bride. And he said it, and the crowd went nuts. And I'm like, well, I guess I gotta do this now. So it's not really anything other than just, hey, show up in queer Star Wars bounding. And I set up a threadless site with shirts and mugs and pins and stuff with artwork submitted by fans, queer fans and allies, that will all benefit the It Gets Better project. So it really is that. But we had our first official one since 2019 this past weekend at Disneyland. And it was fun. It was mostly me and like 15 of my friends, although about 20 or 30 people had gotten wind of it and came searching for me to get a pin. And we took over Oga's and took a lot of fun photos in our cool bounding outfits, and it was silly and dumb. And I did it this past weekend because that was mini gay day, which is something we do in California. That's the halfway point between the main ones, because frankly the main one has gotten so crowded it's just not fun anymore. So I haven't gone in a couple of years. And this actually for me sort of helps separate Batu Pride a little bit and make it its own thing a little. And in Florida, it's going to be it's not obviously not the main Saturday at Magic Kingdom. It's on Friday at Hollywood Studios. We will be doing it there June 2nd of this year. Whether I'm out there is still up in the air. I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it, but I have boots on the ground. They're going to be helping us. Miss Alicia Stella, that we all know and love, is going to be helping in the park. And I'm going to be taking pin orders soon online to ship to people. But again, it's there's no program or agenda. If people want to follow us on all the socials at Batu Pride everywhere, and if you ever go into the parks and do your own bounding or Saber meetup or whatever, tag us and we'll repost. That's literally the point of it. The point of it is mainly just show up, be gay, love Star Wars, and show us your pride.
Well, I'm glad it went well. It went well.
Went great. It was a lot of fun.
What do we all think about? So, we have Mando, as we said, in Grogu. You saw them west. Now they're here on east. So timelines be damned. We've decided people don't care about timelines.
No,
which is fine because it didn't make any sense to begin with.
I mean, it didn't make any sense anyway.
And the thing is, nobody cared years ago with Star Tours: The Adventures Continue, because you were in the new timeline and then you went back to Hoth, and like it didn't.
But I do appreciate that they're now linear. Like you have like very specific, okay, this is the prequels, this is the originals, and this is the continue. Like I got it. So I like that. You're not going to ever see Kylo meet Mando. Like they have these all scheduled, I think, in a way.
Yeah, that sounds like a great way to a great compromise.
Yeah.
Well,
I saw the promise of that too, of like making an original location, is that you can have so many stories unfold, or you're not limited to one specific thing. So like I think this is great.
Yeah,
I saw Mando and Grogu, and then like an hour later, I saw Fennec. So, it's like they're not even the same timeline at all. But okay, it was fine. I mean, the people were taking photos, and it's. I don't think you need to bend over backwards. No, I don't think you need to bend over backwards for that. I think where it matters is in the attractions, right? Like once you're in the attraction, you're in a specific timeline. But out in the land, it's a vibe and a mood, and I'm here for it.
Yeah, and that's how it's always been, period. Like
exactly.
You shouldn't have that much of an issue with it. We used to have, cowboys and Davy Crockett hanging around Chippendale, so it's all good. It's all good.
Well, it's like, that too, it takes place in the Star Wars universe. Who's to say that, in a planet that's at the edge of the galaxy, time doesn't work a little funny there?
That's what yeah. Well, and I heard rumors of, and this is rumor, don't believe me, but what I had heard, and I liked the idea, was they said like they were going to work up some meet and greet area that was part of the land, but sort of, separate. So it kind of like go into your own area. The idea was that this area had a kind of a time flux, kind of the spirits of different timelines show up, and like, who knows and they were using the Force, Empire Strikes Back, the Force cave concept a little bit. The idea was, so, who knows who the Force will show you, was the whole idea. And I kind of like that. Like, if you really want to keep your timeline, there are fun, creative ways. I mean, Star Wars has literal At this point, they travel through time. So
Well, look, I mean, Batu as a whole, Galaxy's Edge as a whole, was a huge swing in
Mhm.
terms of placemaking and timelines, and they promised a lot from the very beginning that they were going to stick to this thing. And it's obvious that with cutting all the entertainment early on, it was actually, I think, kind of a blessing in disguise,
maybe,
to be honest, because if they had opened a bunch of shows that were just about the current trilogy,
yeah,
which kind of ended a little weakly, like it's better now that they can sort of put in entertainment as they need it. And so I think this is an exact example, just like Star Cruise is going to have to do, of them sort of adjusting, and it is an organic place that has every right to change. Anybody who thinks theme parks should be stuck in a moment doesn't know how they work, and they always kind of adapt with their stories. And so I am very excited to see how they address these things. I mean, and then there's the cynical view of it all, which is that the reason you have Mando and Grogu and Fennec and all the Avengers campus heroes, that's all paid for by TV marketing, folks. That's not the park spending money on that. That's the incredibly high TV marketing budgets going, hey, let's show off in this place that we can show people, and the park's like, yay, we get people showing up to see a costume. So it's a win-win.
Yeah, and that costume sits around and is available if necessary. So
yeah, right.
I don't hate that. It's funny, like, the joke I keep making is, if you want to know what's popular in Star Wars, you see who is doing meet and greets in California. If you want to know what's amazingly popular in Star Wars, see what they finally gave us here in Florida. and I think that's just the truth. Like, they'll test stuff out, but if it comes down here, it works. Like, I don't know if you know the blue-haired spy of Batu, V Moradi. Like, you're in trouble, girl. Like, this original character is not going to be around much longer. So take your photos with V if you see her around the park, because I can guarantee you, if things like Mando work, they have no need for some OG character for the land that they have to explain who they are as they meet people. It's going to go away. So get your photos in. All right, let's talk about a thing that it just doesn't want to go away, apparently, or is not allowed to die gracefully. I don't know how to explain this one.
I don't know.
Victoria,
It's
what's going on over
confusing.
at Epcot?
So over at Epcot in World Showcase in France Pavilion, Impressions de France, which is a film that shows the grandeur and romance of France. It was already kind of limited in its run hours. If I believe previously it was like only showing during the nights for like two show times, but now they're gonna switch that and do it in the morning instead, but it's even more limited. So they're now going to be showing Impressions de France between 9 a.m. and 9:30 a.m. And then when they have hotel early entry for the park, is going to be at 8:30. I
This just feels like there's like an
I'm
edict somewhere that says like you can't get rid of the show.
I can't
And then there's
fathom
someone
it.
else is like determined to give the metrics that it's not popular.
Yeah,
right.
So here's the thing. Impressions is easily, without question, my favorite Disney filmed experience, bar none, no questions asked.
I absolutely adore it. The
I
soundtrack,
agree. It's very
fire.
It's yes.
Yeah.
That Carnival of the Animals clip is like my favorite music.
Yeah.
in a Disney theme park. And by the way, let's pronounce it correctly. Impression du front.
Oh, c'est pas chanson au front.
Impression
Impression
de
de
France.
France.
Merci.
Merci, blah blah.
Yeah. So yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think that's okay. So I had and I think I mentioned this before, my last podcast, Dreamfinders, which is not available anymore. I'll work on that. I got to interview the director of Impressions de France, and he was very much like, I can't believe it's still around, and this was when the Beauty and the Beast thing was still there, but they were this was right when it started, and they were kind of halving it a little bit more. And he was like, well, it's just cool that it's still around. And he's, amazing stories about making this thing, and, being, kind of strapped to the top of an elevator with a camera and going up the Eiffel Tower so he can get that shot. Like, just insane things. It's a beautiful piece of work. And I don't get, but my thing is, it's like, let this thing die. If you're going to kill it with this horrible Beauty and the Beast thing along, just kill it at this point. Like, when does this become a slap in the face? Like, what, you're right. Like, what edict is there that they have to show this at least once a day? Because I don't think the director knew that, because he never told me, like, oh, well, I'm never worried about it going away, because he had made peace with it going away 20 years ago. He didn't think it was going to last this long. So I don't know. I can't fathom why they're still doing it, unless.
Yeah, it's profoundly odd because, like, I mean, Walt Disney World has no reservations about just getting rid of things people love.
No.
But except for this one weird show where they're like, oh, we can't get rid of it. Which, I mean, I guess, like, I'm happy that it's still there, I guess, but, like, is anyone going to rope drop to see this movie?
I mean, if I still had my annual pass, because of course I'm moving, I would, because
Yeah,
I never
same.
stayed late enough, except for our last day, our last Epcot trip. I said, okay, I'm gonna stick around long enough. But like, when you're an annual pass holder, you don't want to be stuck in the crowds during fireworks or after fireworks. And it was kind of playing during fireworks is the thing. Like, it was real late, and it would be nice to be able like, okay, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna go see it, and then I can do the rest of my day. Like, I would have loved that. But you're right, like, who's stumbling in for, and it's weird to make it the first one, because you are going to have parents come to that place ready for the Beauty and the Beast sing along, because it's the thing that they think is there. And why would they assume that they're going to show one screening of it doesn't make any sense. Yeah. So
Like, make it make sense.
you know what? If it wants to stay around, that's fine. If they want to show it wherever they need to show it, God bless them. Put it in the Canada Pavilion. I don't give a shit. Just keep it around. I love it. So, that actually would be kind of cool if you took all these Circle Vision films, because clearly they're not doing China anymore. It's in a vault somewhere, because they announced.
Wait,
Yeah.
what's in the China Pavilion then?
Well, no, it's there, but it's the old show.
Oh.
Yeah, it hasn't been
had-
updated in a while.
They had this whole. They were going to release the China one, the one
Yeah,
that's
I
in the
remember, I
land.
remember that. They did announce that they were going to do new ones, didn't they? Like,
Mhm.
seamless ones.
It was
Mhm.
Canada's is seamless now, and it's gorgeous. Canada's, China's, and then the lands where they had done Circle of Life, and they opened the two. It was for like Festival of the Arts one year. It was like, oh, we're having movie premieres, and then they just didn't finish China. Like, it just never came out. So, but you know what? Take one of those theaters or put it somewhere else and be like, we're just showing all Circle Vision films. Like, this is just the Circle Vision theater. Like, you want to see, we'll have international Circle Vision, and if you want to see Canada, we play it this time. If you want to see France, it's half the
Old
screen.
school Tomorrowland. Just bring back a Circle Vision theater to Tomorrowland.
Just do it. Put all Circle Vision
Why
films in one
not?
place. So,
Multi-screen things were of a time. Nowadays, when you've got 20 projectors stitched together to do the Flight of Passage ride, it's not
Yeah.
a thing anymore. You know what I mean?
yeah, it's a unique moment in time,
Yeah,
to say the
it was
least.
a moment in time. Large format film, RIP.
Yeah, I will say though, I do like Impression's lack of Circle Vision. I think that's its key. It's more
Mhm,
panoramic.
yeah.
It's, I think I'm going to do this wrong. It's either 4 or 5.
I
But-
believe it's 5.
I think it's
I
5.
want to say
yeah.
it's 5. Yeah.
yeah, because it's center and then 2 on each side. And the director, I remember mentioning, he said, like, it was great because we could do these cool shots and we didn't have to worry what was behind us. Like, they were able to do stuff that they really wanted to do because there wasn't that limitation of having to show everything. So I don't
Yeah,
know.
I think so. Like, Circle Vision always gives you like a little like fear, like FOMO.
Yeah.
It's like, which way do I look?
As
I
a
missed
P,
something.
I would just turn around and look, like, because they do sort of try to move your focal, like where you're looking, kind of with movement and stuff like that. But there were times I would just turn all the way around and be like, I'm watching this movie now. Whatever's behind here, I'm going to watch this. So, God bless you, Circle Vision and Impressions de France. May you last forever. Vive la France. Moving on, though, we're going to head over to Shanghai with one more final piece of Disney Parks news. And this is a good one. Victoria, who are they getting to meet soon?
They are going to meet Red Panda, Malin Lee from Turning Red, which, by the way, I've known this for 3 weeks and I couldn't say anything.
How'd you know so
So-
long? You just knew the right people?
I got told last time I was in Disneyland, so I couldn't say anything because we
Did you
thought it was
see?
gonna come to Disneyland.
Did you see the picture of the costume?
It's
It looks like a
amazing.
render from the movie. It looks
It
so
does. It looks
good.
so good.
Yeah.
It looks really good. So it's gonna be a limited time part of their spring offerings in Shanghai Disney until May 31st. This is the first time she's been in any Disney park. She's gonna be strictly in her red panda form. It's not gonna be like
Mhm.
her in her human form, but so cute, so excited. The Shanghai girlies are gonna love it.
Yeah.
They need to do a little Four Town stage show, is what they
Oh.
need to do.
Yeah.
Like a little
So
dance
I was
party with
also
Four
told
Town.
that they were supposed to be at Sweethearts Night.
Oh,
Oh.
that would make sense.
They were gonna have her and then have members of Four Town at Sweethearts Night, but it fell through because they couldn't find people that look close enough.
Ugh. It's hard to
Oh.
find. I mean, Dave, you will have a better understanding of this. I assume if you're looking for cast members who look like boys, you're just all twinks, right? Like you're
Yeah.
seeking twinks.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty
Nathan,
much.
please.
Well, I'm
Yeah.
just
What?
that's true. That's who you're
Twink-
looking for.
Twinks are twunks, which
Okay.
are like slightly built, a little bit older twinks, right?
Oh.
We call those twunks.
Did not know
Um,
that.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
need
I
to
didn't
know
know
more
that
about
either.
twonks.
There you go. Yeah, and if they're hairy or bearded but not big and they're thin, we call them otters.
Right.
You know that one.
Yes.
The various woodland creatures of the gay world.
Do you do
there's
twinks? Does it go? I'm going from like evolutionary hair
Twink.
and size. Twink, twunk, otter.
twink, twunk, otter, bear. Sure, wolf. Yeah,
Okay. Okay.
yeah. Wolves are usually like it's also dumb. Come on now. But
No, Charles Darwin taught us we categorize things. That's what we do.
it's true. It's
part
true.
of
Now
society.
I want to do like a nature show, in like a gay bar now, but narrated by what's his name, the British guy,
Richard Attenborough.
Richard Attenborough. I like, yeah. Here we see the twunk in their natural habitat. Anyway, so no, I like they can't find guys that look like Four Town in California.
Yeah, that's
Just go swing a dead cat in WeHo and you'll find somebody.
That's just what I was told. I don't know if it's true. I know the idea was true. I don't know if them being able to find anybody was true.
I know that
But-
there are friends in WeHo. I know about them. So, but barely.
Right. There's a lot of people who are friends of Peter Pan and friends of Aladdin.
Oh man. Okay. Now wait, I've also been told WeHo is not the place to find the young twinks anymore.
It is, but you also, I mean, LA is a big city, so you also
Right.
have Silver Lake, which is like the OG gay neighborhood, and
Right.
downtown LA is now up and coming. I mean, look, every city, there's not one little gay neighborhood anymore.
Twinks
It's
all the
kind
way
of-
This
down.
took such a
Right?
turn. I
Just
tell you.
twinks all the way down.
Yeah.
Okay.
This took such a turn.
I
From
mean,
a
I
red
see the connection
panda-
between this and red
A
pandas.
little girl who was a red panda to where you can find Twinks.
Where you
Twinks
can
all the way
find
down.
Twinks, daddies,
We're
and bears.
trying,
Yeah.
or it's because we're trying to inject sexuality into everything.
Yes.
Correct.
Correct. I am excited about this character. It might be the most huggable character past Chewbacca. I think Chewbacca will remain more huggable,
I
but
don't know. Baymax is pretty damn huggable. He
Yeah,
feels like
Baymax
a
is
giant
huggable.
marshmallow.
yeah, I know. But the embrace, you don't get much of an embrace from
No,
him.
his tiny little arms. He's like
Can't
it's like
do
a
it.
big inflatable T-Rex costume. He's
Yeah.
like,
Well, he can't help that. Okay.
when I meet May Red Panda, I'm gonna bury my face in that fur and cry because
Describe
it's
the
so
dialogue.
cute.
She's
It's so
dang
cute.
cute.
Yeah.
I see now my brain's kind of working on like you do a show and you could do that, do the transformation bit between an actor and it'd be great. Do some
If
Four
they did-
Town.
If they did that costume with one of the talking heads, which
Yeah.
is hard because of the way that mouth is shaped and works, it wouldn't be easy.
Yeah.
But you imagine if that had animated eyes and a mouth and got to sing along with Four Town,
Incredible.
I would plot. That would be amazing.
Anyway, we're gonna move on and we're gonna talk about
Oh.
another theme park who
Oh no.
Oh, kill
Um,
me.
they are not identifying as Twinks or Twonks. They are identifying as as I've put it online as GameCube logos, GameCube game logos. Um, Dave, will you tell us a little bit about what's going on in your old neck of the woods?
Yeah. Um, I tried to be, like open-minded and forgiving about this new logo announcement for Universal Orlando. I tried. I looked at him for a very long time. I tried not to read other people's opinions of it. I looked at them like I would as a client. And look, apologies to anybody that is there that I know that worked on these. I'm just going to say that right now.
But
But
no
if I were
apologies from me. Just to be clear, you made garbage
right,
work.
yeah, I gotta be somewhat
Yes.
tactful here.
Yes, you absolutely do. This is by committee.
I'm
I
not
fully
right.
believe this is by committee.
First of all, yes, this is by committee. This is the worst case of committee design I think I've seen in a long time. But if I were the client, I would have sent these back. I mean, now let's back up a little though. Remember when before they became the behemoth that they are now, and they were just one park expanding to two parks. If you remember that first Islands of Adventure logo, where Islands of Adventure were at two different angles, they were two different vanishing points. It was one of the worst pieces of graphic design
Right.
I've ever seen professionally. As a matter of fact, it was universally, no pun intended, hated at creative, but
Mhm.
it was picked and guided in design by the same PepsiCo execs who were running the joint at the time, who also were the geniuses who came up with Universal Studios Escape.
Yeah.
Okay, and we all know how that went.
Right.
And
It's a
after
pretty nice
years
looking
of
logo.
and for years Universal's been on a really good branding game. I mean, as that resort has expanded and as they gotten more influx of mad Comcast money for attractions and parks and things, it's all been universally pretty good. But you look at these new logos and there's just fundamental design mistakes in them.
Yeah.
First of all, I saw I forget who I saw online, but somebody said they put them through a web check in terms of like readability at size and scale and against different brightnesses and color backdrops and screen resolutions. And that Volcano Bay one, like I'm looking at it right now on the page that you sent us.
Yep.
And you can't read it because the I in Universal goes away. The top of the A goes away in Volcano against that white. The word adventure, like they've been going away from the flying through space look of Islands of Adventure, the sort of angled look for every iteration. But this one now, it kind of looks like a mistake. It's so hand waved, right?
Mhm.
The word Florida cutting off South America. Now they've always had that issue of having to cut off the continents and the globe underneath Universal Studios Florida, but this just seems particularly egregious compared to like previous versions of it. City Walk looks
City
like
Walk.
City Walk looks like a lingerie brand to me. Like it's
It
just
looks like if you look at the Sex and the City 2 movie poster, it's
yes.
pretty much the same. It's
yeah. It like just all of these are like the least egregious probably Universal Studios Florida because we're used to it. I think it needed some tweaks. Volcano Bay, I love the idea that they're going for, that it is the globe, right? They want a circular shape, a globe shape for all of their parks. That's actually fun, a complementary branding between parks, but it just doesn't read. It's just that and they're going back to this skeuomorphic look of things being dimensional and glossy and having layers, where like if you look at the flattened versions of these logos, I saw those elsewhere online, they're not as bad. They work okay, they're fine, they work on print, and they'll work on tickets and things, but man, that they're just not good. And I hate to say that because I'm like, I know that a lot of work went into these, but to your point, I think it's designed by committee. I think that these don't look even like they were focus grouped, to be honest. If they were, then man, it was a terrible focus group and people have no taste because they didn't have the right people guiding it from those focus group notes.
I'll take the Universal like Studios one over the old school Universal Studios Florida one. Not the neon. The neon's perfect. But the one that the globe is like fully realized with basically temperature patterns. Like there's it looks like Saturn. It's egregiously terrible. But man, it's oof.
I will
Yeah.
say I don't like them, but I do appreciate that they went in a different direction than the standard blandification of logos that's been happening to like every brand under the sun, and
Yeah.
that these are in a different direction from that look. Um, so at least they're unique and distinct.
Yeah, but am I gonna have to see that Islands of Adventure logo now slapped onto the lighthouse?
I
Like,
hope not.
woof.
That looks like a cover of one of the Mist sequels from the early aughts, basically.
Yes.
You know.
Yeah, it really does.
So apologies to any people I know over there that worked on these. I just think they're really lacking. I think I'm with Kira that look, new design is inevitable. I'm glad they went in some. The Volcano Bay one to me is the most interesting change. That I think there's something there. Like, but if they needed to put sky or something behind the white part, so that to make the letters in the water pop a little more. Like, I love the circular similarity between all of them. Good direction. I would have stayed on that. But like each
Well,
one
except
has
City
something
Walk.
about it.
City Walk doesn't
Yeah,
have that.
because it's not a park.
Yeah, true.
Right.
True.
And I think this is about all the parks. But just when you look at the old Islands one and the new one, the new one just feels like, again, that angle of the word adventure doesn't look purposeful. It was so watered down, then why do it at all?
Well, and I saw someone had talked about it had been released for like 5 seconds, Islands of Adventure's original logo, but the text had been centered. So it was centered instead of kind of the way we got it, which ended up, that sort of I'm trying to find an example so I can look at it myself. It kind of is a kind of Indiana Jonesy now, or it was, I guess. But it used to be, there was a version that was kind of centered in, and I thought, okay, that's not too bad. It's like it kind of lands it just right. And I get that you're right. Like, there seems like Volcano seems fairly centered in this new one. Studios is, but Islands is just like all over the place.
It's just a little odd.
Yeah.
It's just a little odd.
I bet we never see these.
You think they're going to go back to the drawing board with these?
I think that we'll see flat variations, but we're never going to see these 3D. I can't fathom where they're going to put these 3D ones. I just can't fathom it.
I mean, I wouldn't buy merch with that Islands logo.
No, but then again, I'm and I don't think I'm in the minority here. Beyond merch that is based on Jaws or Back to the Future, or the retro merch that they had for the neon sign, Universal merch is garbage. Like 75% of it's not good design to begin with.
Well, and the things that sell are the IP based ones, and nobody, like, we're the nerds and weirdos who want park logo merch.
Yeah,
I'm the nerd who, the thing I always bought was never t-shirts, but always like the souvenir guidebook and the VHS tape. So I'm the outlier when it comes to merch. I have an old Islands Adventure cap and polo shirt and stuff from when I was there.
Sure.
But like,
I would buy a Poseidon's Fury souvenir water vortex.
I like that. I think like a desktop vortex with a little
water,
water,
like a little desktop,
like a little, and it spins. I love that idea.
Yeah, I'll do that. That sounds good. That sounds good. Oh man. Well, some bad news for that park, but some good news for Disney on the company front. Theoretically, this is theme park news, but it's more Imagineering company based. Bruce Vaughn has returned. Dave, tell us what your thoughts are on this. What he had done previously in the company. He is not a spring chicken at all when it comes to Disney Imagineering.
No. Bruce Vaughn had a very long and storied career at Disney. He was there for something like 22 years, and he was the chief creative officer from 2007 till he left in 2016. So he was, the figurehead for a lot of very large projects there. I have never worked with him. I've met him a couple of times in passing, but I have really no opinion of him professionally, just because I haven't been able to form one. But when this was announced, I actually asked a lot of friends from Imagineering, and I think, especially people that still work there now, there's going to be a certain amount of politics involved in that answer. But the thing that came to the top about Bruce, to me, that is important, and this is not a criticism, this is actually a positive to me, in that everybody said he manages up very, very, very well, meaning he was able to represent the work of people below him to the executives and the board in a way that was positive and kept things moving. I heard that over and over and over again, that he is a politician, and he's very, very good with upper management. And seeing where they are at right now in terms of having to restructure all of Imagineering after decimating it, I think maybe he's the right guy. I really don't know though, because I again, I never worked with him creatively. I only got some feedback from a couple of people who basically agreed that he's a strong manager when it comes to interfacing with the high level stuff.
Does this feel like a kind of an Iger vibe for Imagineering? Come for a couple of years, set things
Yes,
up.
yes.
Because yeah, you don't usually return. I mean,
Well,
there's
he
a
was.
you
I
know
mean, in
there's a
between,
history of the study went out that said that some of the most successful uh management people are ones that return to a company.
yes, right,
So
right.
it's it
And
yeah,
I think that's true. I think I don't know if I wouldn't go so far as to say this is like come for a couple years and leave, but it's not like he was not doing anything since he left Disney. He worked
right.
at Dreamscape. He helped set up Dreamscape, which is that VR company. And The Void didn't survive, but Dreamscape did. And I actually think Dreamscape does better VR experiences. If you've never done them, if there's one near you, they're really worth doing. They're very cool. And then for the last year or so, he's been head of experiential creative product for Airbnb. So they
Huh.
were trying to change their business a little and maybe come up with an experience wing of, I don't know what that meant, but
They did a couple interesting,
yeah,
I think, and I'm not sure if it was Airbnb or somebody else, but they did like or they're doing, oh, what was the one I just heard about? Bluey's house from Bluey.
yeah, right,
I think there was another one that the Simpsons house is another one I heard about.
yeah,
So
yeah.
there are these kind of creative win prize stays sort of thing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I mean, and he's going to be working with Barbara Bowser, right? Who is the current president of WDI, and she's great and very strong leadership. So I think overall it's a positive.
sure.
I think the bigger issue is the institutional knowledge that they've gotten rid of in the last 3 years is going to be a very hard hole to fill. And that's not any criticism of the people that have been left behind. There's still a lot of really, really good talent there. But a lot of long storied Imagineers are gone. And so what is Imagineering now? It's not the it's on the good side of things, maybe it just won't be the group full of old white men anymore, which is a
Sure.
very good thing, and that's going to change.
Always
And
a
that's
good thing.
and it's always a good thing. But at the same token, like this is an opportunity for them to go for much greener, much less experienced, cheaper talent. In a lot of ways, I think the way it's really going to go though is not that. I think it's the dirty little secret of Imagineering, and that Universal Creative is always been a lot more forward about, is they really lean on their vendors.
Sure.
They have a very small internal staff that does the ideation, a little bit of engineering and project management, but then by and large, the larger design goes to the companies that are building it, that they're paying to build it. And so I have a feeling they're going to lean on that a lot more than they used to, the way Universal has literally for the last 20 or 30 years.
Well, we will see what occurs, I suppose.
Yeah.
But moving forward, Dave, you have two interesting movie teaser trailers that have come out recently. One of them is very theme park related. Let's talk about them.
Yeah. So the first teaser trailer for Haunted Mansion came out, which comes out this July.
Woohoo.
It is got Rosario Dawson and Owen Wilson and Keith Stanfield, Tiffany Haddish, Chase Dillon, Danny DeVito, Jamie Lee Curtis, who plays Madame Leota, which is kind of great. Justin Simeon is the guy that created Dear White People, both the movie and the TV series, and he's incredibly talented and queer. Yay.
Yay.
And so yay. So there was a lot of banter about the trailer online. I came out of it cautiously optimistic. I'm disappointed that it seems like a retread of what the Eddie Murphy movie was, which is family moves into house, ghosts scare them. But maybe I'm wrong. That could just be.
It's also a teaser trailer, so
It is a
we'll
teaser,
see.
right. We'll see. I think there's more to it because of the weirdness of the other characters. There's something going on with they all have a connection to it in some way, I think. But the tone of it, in terms of, wow, there's some surprising little jump scares in that trailer, and yet it's also funny.
Mm-hmm.
Like, is this going to be a PG PG-13 movie. Like, I doubt it, but there's a possibility.
I think you can really get away with a PG-13 movie at this point.
I
All the
agree.
Pirates were PG-13. All the
Yeah.
Marvels are PG-13. I
Yeah.
don't think that's. I think the issue most people had with the Murphy one is it was PG. Like it felt
Yeah.
PG. And I wouldn't be shocked at all if this is PG-13. I think it's just gonna be the right amount of spook to get
Yeah.
that vibe.
I'm cautiously optimistic. What did you guys think?
Well, we know. I mean, it took me about 5 seconds to realize Owen Wilson is not a priest. He's certainly a con man. Because I was like, I
Yeah,
don't
he does
believe.
that very well.
Yeah, because I was like, I don't believe Owen Wilson's a priest, and then he's like, hey, you could do this thing for $2,000. And I was like, okay, there's no way this guy's a priest, which I like. That means it's not as straightforward as we think it's going to be. I thought it was actually a pretty good trailer. It used that one shot really well.
Yeah.
Kind of the long shot of the portrait stuff.
Yeah.
Oh yes, that was really well done.
I like that it's not currently knee deep in trying to create lore. I'm not saying the movie won't have lore about the house,
Mhm.
but I think we can all agree too, like you could make a Haunted Mansion movie and not tell me anything about what happened at the mansion that made the ghosts happen, and we would be fine with it. I don't think there's anything that the thing we like about the Haunted Mansion isn't that we know its in-depth story.
I mean, from a marketing
Well-
standpoint, I think what they did was genius. Like they gave up straight fan service, and that created buzz. Like
Mhm.
they gave
Yeah.
the little
Yeah.
Easter eggs and stuff, so that got people talking. So I think I'm with Nate, like Nathan, pretty much. I'm like that gives them a chance to flesh out the full story in the trailer when it
Yeah.
drops.
I was most worried about Jared Leto being in the cast because of, rolling my
Being
eyes. at
Jared
anything
Leto.
Jared Leto.
Yeah.
Like, again, as we said before, when Tron was announced, I don't have the hate for him like a lot of the people do, but I understand why. He's just not
Like,
appealing.
what hold does
Um,
he have on fucking Bob
He's
Iger?
he's
My
got
God.
he's got naked photos of Bob Iger, I think, or somebody.
He's got
because,
to, because it makes no sense to
But
me.
the fact that he's not in the trailer, all the fan speculation is that he did mocap for the Hatbox Ghost, and if it's
Mhm.
that, all right. If I just have to hear his voice, I'll probably be okay with it.
Yeah, I'm
But
fine with that. I can
What'd
deal
you-
with that.
What'd you think, Kira?
I'm cautiously optimistic. I am disappointed that no Haunted Mansion adaptation has leaned into the fact that it's a retirement home for ghosts.
Mm.
Like that is what the Haunted Mansion is, and I would just love to see like a movie where a guy is trying to find real estate for retired people, and like halfway through he realizes like he's dead or something like that.
Yeah.
Like that's
Oh.
what I want.
That's a great. Oh my God, you need to write that.
No.
Not as Haunted
Honestly,
Mansion,
that's
write it as
genius.
something else. That's really good. I love that.
Yeah, it's I wish we would have been able to one day we'll get to read the Del Toro script. And
Yeah.
I think that's what's been kind of hanging around everyone's head is the fact that
Yeah.
this
It was originally going to be like full blown scary, and now we're just
Yeah.
still like, I think people are just nervous it's going to be like a mix of Eddie Murphy version again. But
I think Justin Simeon's a much better director than that, and he's a
Yes.
really good actor.
oh, absolutely,
and he's a great
does
writer. So
yes,
he's great. So I'm that alone has made me like, all right, I'm in. I see you movie.
Yeah. Yeah, I would love for a movie like that to be like, and this is a one movie. We're not making 5 of them. It's just one thing, and
Yeah.
that's it. Now,
Yep.
that's never gonna be
Period.
what they do. But if the movie can feel like its own thing, kind of like Black Pearl did, I suppose too. Is
Yeah.
if it can feel like this can live by itself,
Yeah.
I'll just be happy in this era of everything tying to everything. But
Yeah.
going from one interesting directing choice to another, let's talk a little bit about Peter Pan and Wendy.
So Peter Pan and Wendy coming to Disney Plus on April 28th. The trailer dropped. It's got young stars Alexander Maloney, Ever Anderson, Yara Shahidi, Jim Gaffigan, Alan Tudyk, and then Jude Law as Captain Hook, which is kind of crazy smart casting because he looks really weird and creepy and queer, and that's the thing. That's all I want out of Captain Hook is for him to be super fucking queer.
Yeah.
So the directing choice and writing choice is really, in my opinion, is really great. David Lowery is adapting this and directed it. He's the guy who did my favorite, and we talked about this offline, Nathan, my favorite of the live action remakes that Disney's done. He did the Pete's Dragon one. And if people haven't seen it, it is the Iron Giant good. It is E.T. good. It is a not a remake of the original Pete's Dragon at all. As a matter of fact, David Lowery's gone on record as saying Disney was courting young filmmakers at Sundance, 10 years ago to try to look at some of these films. And he gave them that pitch as a moonshot, thinking they're never going to go for this. Because basically what he pitched is not a fun sing-along cartoon dragon movie, but like a small, quiet, sometimes has action in it, but mostly quiet family drama, action drama about grief and loss and chosen family. And it's remarkable. And like the child performance in it is amazing. The wordless performance of Elliot is incredible. Some of the best CGI sort of emotion I've ever seen. I saw it like 5 times in the theater because I kept bringing friends to it going, you're not going to believe this fucking movie. And it's great. Now, and take it or leave it, your mileage may vary, but I find it really good. And I like his other movies. He did a film called A Ghost Story.
Yeah. And what people recently might remember is he did The Green Knight, which
did Green Knight, which I was getting to that. Like Ghost Story, not a lot of people saw as Casey Affleck and Rooney Mara, and it was very sort of quiet and weird and slow, but a meditation on existentialism, basically.
Right. Yeah.
But The Green Knight, to me, is a fucking masterpiece.
Yeah.
Like that movie is one of the best fantasy films I've seen in forever, because it's not just swords and sandals and magic and battles. It is dark and sexy and existential and difficult and it's great. I love The Green Knight.
So good.
And so the fact that he's a guy that has taken 2 genres, the fun family Disney animated sidekick movie and the fantasy sword epic, and giving them this very, very modern, extremely modern spin, makes me very excited for Peter Pan and Wendy. There was another film called, wasn't there a film called Wendy that came out recently?
Every 2 years, there's like a Peter Pan live action movie that comes out. I can't keep track because
It's
been
a 20.
Yeah, I can't even keep track anymore.
Yeah, it was a reimagining of Peter Pan, and it was from 2020. It was okay, but this new one looks like a halfway point. It's not going quite as far. Wendy looked like Peter Pan by way of Where the Wild Things Are. Like it looked like that kind of adaptation, right? This looks like more like, no. We're going to give you Peter Pan in a green suit. We're going to give you Captain Hook. We're going to give you the stuff you know, but we're going to give it a slightly different view. Just adding Wendy in the title alone is proof of that. I don't know. I'm excited. What do you?
Yeah, some people complain that it's a little murky looking, and I don't disagree.
Yeah, that's true of everything, though.
That's the vibe, though. Like, isn't it like supposed to be a representation of like the animated original one?
Well, I don't really have an issue because I don't make those claims until I see a movie. But one can say that the balance there for a man who did The Green Knight, which is probably, there's a lot going on with the cinematography, but you can do dark with also having very complex color palettes. It felt a little muddy, but these trailers are made before color correction a lot of times is completed, and there's a lot of stuff going on. So I don't want to hold that against it. Everything looks good. Look, I'm getting Jude Law as Captain Hook. I'm getting Jim Gaffigan as Smee. What do I care?
Smee.
Like,
yeah.
I mean,
great.
fair.
Yeah.
Kira, thoughts?
I haven't actually seen the trailer.
Okay.
Yeah, to be fair, I haven't seen the trailer either.
Well, don't worry, it's Disney Plus. You don't have to see the trailer. It'll be out tomorrow, basically.
Yeah.
It's not
I
something-
know hard to believe you can beat Hook, though.
Oh yeah, I don't think anyone's ever beaten Hook yet, and I think that's the thing is. But I hope this, I just talked about something I hope is one movie. I love 5 good Peter Pan and Wendy movies. Like I would love to see that, sort of happen. I'm not getting a goofy vibe at all from Jude Law, which is interesting. So we'll see how that kind of pans out. Again, we had one line from him, so I'm, but I love a very petty Hook. I like a very prissy Hook. So
Yeah.
We'll see. I think they'll. You don't hire Jim Gaff again if you're not planning on some of that. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm excited. I'm excited.
Same.
Okay, well, let's go to some segments here to finish things up, and we have an interesting one. We have a mailbag.
So mail someone a letter, even just a card will do. You know it's nice when the postman has a letter in a sack for you.
Dave, tell us a little bit about this letter from Andrew.
Andrew, thank you for writing to us, Andrew. Andrew writes, Dear everyone at Rat Castle, just wanted to write in about the Disney 100 exhibition that was talked about last episode. To start, yes, the Walt AI thing is a bit creepy. However, it is present only for the first room and is there for less than a minute. Second, the exhibition is awesome. It has a large selection of stuff from every facet of the company, some interactivity, and you get to meet some characters, statues only, unfortunately. Anywho, hope this helps you out, and thanks for the podcast. Thanks for your letter, Andrew. I've seen pictures of that exhibit, and it looks. Is it touring? Is it like going around the country?
It'll be in Chicago.
Yeah, I think
at some point
after August, it'll be in Chicago.
Where is it
right
now?
Now it's in Philadelphia.
Okay.
Philadelphia or
yeah,
Pittsburgh?
It's in Philly because I'm moving.
Yeah,
my...
well, I want to see it's at the Franklin Institute, right?
Oh,
Yes,
yeah,
at
yeah,
the
yeah.
Franklin Institute, which I need to buy tickets for. So thank you.
Yeah, I'm certainly like going to put a moving box down and then immediately go. So that's my plan for when I finally move to Maryland. Is I gotta get that in because it does look really really cool. It really does.
It does look. It looks
great.
very nice. I had a friend
All the
go
pictures
last
I've
week.
seen
She
look
said
great.
she loved it.
Cool. I'm excited.
Yeah. Well, good to know that the AI Walt is only a blip because just the video of it to me is a little. I think you nailed you. I wasn't on that. I don't think I was on that episode.
No, you weren't.
You guys talked about
no because
I listened to it.
You did a big text thread. We did read your text thread about.
It's not a hologram.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that Itzy was like, please don't come for me, Dave. It's fine, girl. It's fine. You get a pass. No, it's not even just that. I think you nailed it, that it's like, we don't see him in color in this era.
No. Yeah.
And so it's just off-putting to see him like, it just doesn't, I don't know. It just doesn't feel, it's not the way we've seen him up until now. I'm a little skeeved out by all of the holograms of dead people anyway. So, It's
I don't know. Like, there's just something about the performance. Like, I feel like they got a Twink just to like do the performance capture, and like it's just a very odd vibe.
Yeah, they needed somebody who ate more like chili and smoked.
Yeah,
he's just too smiley.
Yeah, way
too smiley. Too smiley. He smiled, but he didn't smile like that. Man, tell you what, faces hard to replicate.
Yeah.
So, well, thank you so much, Andrew, for writing in. And that leads us, of course, to our final segment of the evening, the Astuter Computer, a poem of the week.
That's why I'm a router for the computer. Everybody needs a friend. What?
Ah, yes, the computer. Our little Astuter computer here is going to write us a poem thanks to our partnership with ChatGPT. We do not have a partnership with ChatGPT. But let me ask the computer what it can write for me. Computer, could you please write me a poem about the Galactic Star Cruiser, the Haunted Mansion trailer, and what about the new Reedy Creek board? Let's see here. All right. So let's see here. It is written for me. In the world of Disney, so much to explore, from star cruisers to haunted mansions and more. But not all news is good, as we can see, for controversy and conflict can also be. The star cruiser voyages have been cut short, a disappointment for those who sought in short. Don't worry about it, the student. To live out their Star Wars fantasy in a journey that's out of this galaxy. But fear not, for the Haunted Mansion awaits a teaser trailer now released. It fascinates. With ghostly apparitions and creepy sights, it promises a thrilling, chilling delight. Yet amidst the excitement and the thrills, we cannot ignore the harm and the ills, for a board appointee has caused dismay with views on homosexuality he dared to say. He called it evil and claimed tap water's to blame, a hurtful and dangerous statement to proclaim. We must stand up and speak out against hate and strive for acceptance and love before it's too late. Woo! In the world of Disney, there's much to admire, but we must also be vigilant and never tire of fighting for what's right and just. and building a world of love, respect, and trust. Well, a Studer computer,
A
you're an
Studer
ally.
computer.
Thank you.
Bars.
A Studer computer just said gay.
Beautiful.
Just said gay rights.
Yeah, a Studer computer. We got ourselves
right
one woke
now.
computer over here, ladies and gentlemen. We
That
love
was
him.
awesome. Thank you, Studer computer.
Yes, thank you, Studer. So with that, Rat Castle, of course, is produced by yours truly, Nathan Hartman. Please subscribe and tell your friends. We don't do this to hear ourselves talk. We do it so you can hear. No, we actually kind of do it to hear ourselves talk. But it's nice that you also listen. So please tell other people to listen. We do love that. And if you want to leave us questions or buy some merch that we got, maybe I need to get a new
Fucking fascist!
merch up at some point. We'll see. We'll see what happens. So leave some questions, buy some merch, and more. You can do all of it at bit.ly/ratcastle. And now, grab your belongings and exit to the left.
Will you stop this foolishness?
What foolishness would you like to see?
Will you get out of here?